So in the last video, we did a problem 24. And by the way, when it comes to the solution of that, you can, in fact, multiply each side by 9 to get rid of this fraction, because the opposite of that fraction, right, would be 9 over 1, which is the same thing as multiplying times 9. So that's why they did it that way. And then adding 4 to each side makes sense, because that's what 7 to each side would make sense, because you have a negative 7 here. But let's get back to 25, which is our next one that we have to work on. And if you think about this, we have 6 teachers joined, which kind of sounds like I'm going to be adding here, because there's joined, to 7/5 of the members of the running club, which is what I am actually looking for, right? And so this is my x. So I have 5/7 of x being added to 6, and then I end up with 31 total people. So if that's what's happening, I have a 2-step equation that I can use to solve. And to solve that equation, of course, I have to subtract 6 from both sides, because I'm trying to get rid of this 6 first. And if I do that, I get 5/7 of x equals 25. Now, how do I get rid of a fraction? Remember, to get rid of a fraction, I will multiply it by its inverse. And so I do that to both sides. Multiply it by 7/5. That's how I like to do it. You can take 2 steps too, but I prefer doing it that way. And if you do that, you will end up canceling the fraction on this side, end up with just your y or your x. I think it uses the x, right? This looks like a y, but it's an x. And then 25 divided by 5 is 5, times 7 is 35. And so we have 35 members running in the running club. By the way, I didn't even say this, but on the last part of the problem, we ran 46 miles last week. Wow, that was a lot. And now we got 35 runners. That's a lot of runners on the club. That's pretty nice. Let's try to do 26 as well. Okay, so in this problem, we start with negative 80, but then 9 parents give money, and you end up with 44. So it seems like our final answer is going to be 44, but we started at negative 80 and added to that 9 sets of donations. And then we ask, how much does each parent give? So that makes sense that that is our x. And now we have a 2-step equation that we can solve here for this problem. And we would start by handling this negative 80 by adding 80 to both sides, right? And if you add 80 to both sides, you're going to get rid of your 80, and then you can just calculate if you have to, but 80 plus negative 44, you're going to find the difference and end up with the sign of the biggest, which is 80. So the answer is going to be 36. And so 9x is 36 is what you have left. And then, of course, I have to divide both sides by 9 to get rid of that 9 on that side. And when you do that, the 9s cancel out, and then you get 36 divided by 9, which is 4. So you get $4 given by each parent to solve that problem. And so I've done 3 of these problems with you, and there is one left over here. Let me clear the screen so you can see it. And on this one, you started at a depth of 128 feet, but then you go down, so that's why it's negative, at a rate of 50 feet per minute, and then you end up at negative 472 feet. So that could be an expression to represent that problem, and then you can just use your skills at solving equations to try to solve that. You can pause before I review the solution. So you would start by subtracting 128 from both sides, and when you do so, the 128 cancels out, and you end up with negative 50m equals negative 600, because those two negatives will combine to become even more negative. Then you got to get rid of that 50. And if you divide both sides by negative 50, because you're going to try to get rid of the negative 50 to do so, you're going to find out that the negative 50s cancel out, and 600 divided by negative 600 divided by negative 50 is going to become positive, because negative by negative is positive, and 600 divided by 50 is 12, so it takes 12 minutes to make that descent. So there you go. 4 tough word problems solved. Now, most of the word problems in the test aren't going to be that tough, but this shows you that with a good practice, you can get it done.